Hey, everybody. This is episode 12 of the ongoing pandemic sessions. Hopefully, these things are coming to an end. I tried to get together with Tom last week, but I flaked out. One, because I was super tired one day, and the next day, just couldn't make it happen. And so I haven't been putting out like the 3-4 episodes a week like I was at the beginning of this, mainly because I kind of burned out a little bit. But then I've missed it this last week or so. So that's out of the way. This episode, though, is a pretty special one because, one, it's the most guests I've ever had on the show. If technically there's 4 people in the show. Now, the main guest is Carly Rogers. She is a singer-songwriter living in Nashville, making a living doing music. I believe in the episode I say she's doing her damn thing. But she's on here because she's one of the upcoming acts in what my friend Brian Judy, Rob Boland, and Katie Cruz are all promoting and organizing, which is Operation Triage's Freedom Jam. Now, Freedom Jam is a great concert to benefit veterans and first responders and a lot of things like that. And it's good. It's a good concert with 8 total guests. It's on August 29th at the Diamond Billiards and Music Club in St. Peters at 4109 North Cloverleaf Drive. And it's $10 tickets in advance, $20 for a rail seat, and $100 for a table. All worth it. I mean, eight great acts, all of a sprinkle of local returning heroes, so to speak, from Nashville and other things. So it'll be worth it. And on top of all that, this episode, you hear Carly Rogers play a great Keith Whitley song that she's been given permission to record. So it's a good episode. It's about a concert that's for a good cause, and more specifically about a singer-songwriter who's on the precipice, I should say, of busting out, and who's really one of the most down-to-earth cool chicks. She references basketball a lot, which is awesome, and we almost get off on a tangent of The Last Dance, which is awesome, so enjoy the episode. Oh, one more thing I'll say. I was going to cut up and release some clips from the video, but there was a little bit of technical difficulties between the fact that I was using 2 computers and I forgot to save on one. So it was all my fault. There was no technical difficulty. There was producer difficulty. So anyway, after the bomb, you're going to hear the episode. Here it comes. We are back. Well, I am back, and this is a little bit different format because we're still doing the Zoom thing on the episodes, but I have, if you could see what my computer screen looked like, I have the most crowded screen I've had to date on the podcast. I've been really good at keeping these Zoom episodes down to like 2 to 3 people, but I have 4 guests with me today, and that is for a very specific reason. I'm going to start unceremoniously and probably... unfortunately, I'm going to start with the guy that I've known the most from a professional relationship, which we won't get into. But my good friend Brian Judy, who is he shows up on my screen as Jen Judy, which is very deceptive.
That's my name.
That's the boss's name, right?
My alter ego.
So real quick, and in addition to Brian, I also have Katie Cruz, I have Rob Boland, and then I have, last but certainly not least, one of the talent for something that we're going to be talking about coming up soon, Carly Rogers, singer-songwriter. Carly, say hi to everybody.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Now,
good.
Now, what the reason we're on here today is, I guess it's been months and months back. Brian put out a distress call about something that was coming up. He said, I
still do.
Yeah. He said, I've got this concert thing coming up. I need a logo. And I've, in my collegiate days, which is years and years ago, I was a graphic design major. So I said, you know what? I'll do it. So he emailed me what it was. It turns out it's Operation Triage's Freedom Jam. And I got to say, before we start on it, the logo is unbelievable.
I wonder who made that.
Yeah. I don't want to toot the horn of who did that, but the logo's great.
I spent hours doing it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you told me all about this that was coming up, and kind of where I wanted to start before we get to Carly is I want to let everybody know, for one, Brian, I can say a lot about you. There's no way around it. But the thing I'll say that the biggest badge I'll give you is being your friend, and then you're on a social media friend, Facebook. You are, you find causes and you support the hell out of them. That's one thing you do well. And this is another one that has popped up on your radar. And I kind of want to know, one, how did it come to you? And two, what was the genesis for this whole Freedom Jam concert?
Sure. So, well, first I'd like to say thanks for letting us come on here because, being a charity, we don't have deep pockets to go out and do all kind of advertising. So the best way that we can get our word out about who we are, what we do, about our artists, is through media platforms like this. So I appreciate you letting us be on here.
Hey, no problem. And you've already been on one of my. I turned you on to another good friend of mine and a local podcaster, and Shane Presley and the Rock Paper Podcast. So you're doing your part with the local podcast, and we've got a lot of them out there. So I'm glad. Awesome. I'm glad you're coming on my show today.
Sure. So the way that Freedom Jam all came about was. Rob and I both work for a building products distributor, and we're in the building industry. And one of our builders that we work with, he runs an organization called Operation Triage. And Operation Triage, in layman's terms, if you can think of Habitat for Humanity, it's kind of Habitat for Humanity, but for first responders, veterans, and active service members. Okay, that's it. So they have deep roots with the military. The founder of Operation Triage is Dan Vargas. He was part of Operation Finally Home, and then he and Matt Belcher, who runs Operation Triage in Missouri, broke off and thought, "Oh, let me scoot back here on Operation Finally Home." That's where they build a mortgage-free home for a veteran. No rent, no mortgage. Okay. They were like, for the same amount of resources that we can do for one veteran building one house, we could change 10 people's lives with the same amount of resources. So they spun off, and that's how Operation Finally Home came about, or Operation Triage came about, and it's going here in Missouri. So with us always doing a lot of stuff in the building community, and Matt being one of our builders, but we said, how could we actually help him and help his organization. And I approached Matt, and I was like, "Hey, how can we give back?" And they're very much country bumpkins. I mean, horses. I mean, they're country. They're real country. I think KUNTRY country. So we were like, let's. I said, Matt, how about we put on a country concert, raise some funds, and give back. He was like, "Can you do that?" I was like, "Yeah, I can do whatever." So
you'll find out.
I was like, I have my fingers crossed. I'm like, okay, Matt Wynn, Carly Rogers, and my buddy Mackie Roberts. I hope you say yes. So I was, Carly, you were slated in before you ever started. I'm just telling you.
Yay!
So that's how it all started, with just like three, and we were like, okay, let's put on a concert and get some. It helps them get some recognition.
So you obviously, Rob, you guys work together, but you're helping him out put on this concert.
Doing the best I can. I'm also a Shriner, so I've got a background in a lot of charitable work. And Katie's been in the media for 30 years, and she's been on a lot of boards for charitable foundations as well. Also, when Brian was asking for a little help, we've done other charitable things before, so it was just like, sure, I'll jump in and help and just do whatever we can to push forward. Matt's a good guy. We've developed a friendship over the last year or so we're glad to jump in and do what we can and help with logistics. And Brian's a good social media guy, and when he needs stuff other than that, that's when I'll try to jump in and pick up the loose ends that he's not chasing down. So
yeah, if there's one thing Brian is active on, and is social media. So this pandemic has only accelerated his social media game. Now,
learned it all from Carly.
Yeah.
No, Katie, you're an on-air personality.
That is correct.
And tell everybody who with.
Well, it's a station here in St. Louis locally that is 101.7 is our dial setting. It's a really cool, very rogue, one-of-a-kind format. we play a mix of rock and Americana, where we take rock from every genre, from the 60s until, present day. And then we blend that all. And Carl, you can appreciate this, with so much of the Americana artist, and many of these Americana artists who have been around for so long, that the music that we've been introducing to our audience, a lot of these bands aren't even together anymore. I mean, these guys and gals spent, a decade grinding it out in the clubs and really, making it work and doing stuff. And then for whatever reason, came apart, but there's still such an active base in all around the nation, of course, in Austin, in Nashville, Oklahoma, places like that, your red dirt, talent. And so blending that, it seems like those two things would not be really great bedfellows. Like, how do you put Led Zeppelin together with Brothers Osborne, and how do you put Journey together with the Avett Brothers and things like that? But if you really focus on how you put that programming together, it actually works brilliantly.
That sounds like it would be a really awesome station to road trip to, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good
Can we get a
point.
nationally
A really good road trip station, yeah?
Yeah, it sounds like what most people's their iTunes playlist should sound like anyway. You're just putting it on the radio for everybody.
Yeah, and it's really cool too, because it really becomes, when I do my air-shift, it becomes my playlist, my iTunes or whatever, because we get to structure our own shows. So we have distinct lanes that we stay in. You guys know radio. There's different, categories that you pocket your stuff in. You put your REO Speedwagon in your corporate rock, and you put your, whatever the buckets look like. But we can draw from those in any structure that we like, and literally song by song, we put it together. So that helps with the mix and the blend, and helps make things not sound too out of whack.
Now,
it's pretty cool.
I will ask one question, and this is not something I want to dwell on because it's all you hear about all day, every day. But have you been doing your show from home these last?
No, I go in every day.
Awesome. I'm guessing it's been a skeleton crew.
It's very skeleton crew. Sadly, we have seen some furloughs, very few, but it's what happens in this stressful time that we're in. But yeah, unlike a lot of people, I kind of see friends at home and working from home and being able to spend extra time with their kids. And I hope that everyone finds that as a bonus. I'm sure that can just add to stress levels from time to time. But yeah, I like Rob and Brian, we go in every day, work a full day, and sometimes even more than a full day. So.
Well, I've found that I start my day every day loving being around my kids, and I end my day every day hoping this pandemic ends soon. So.
It's a twofold, right? Like, I wish that I had time to be home a bit more with my son is 17. He could care less, but my daughter's 14, and she likes to have mom around still here and there. And I kind of wish I had some of those moments, but it's all right.
That's odd.
How blessed to be able to say you go into work every day, right?
Of my two 14-year-olds, my two daughters, my 14-year-old, she could care less about having me around. It's quite opposite with me. And my 9-year-old, I'm still hanging on a little bit of friendship with.
There you go.
I will say this real quick. I want to give this out a couple of times, but the Operation Triage Freedom Jam, it is on August 29th at the Diamond Billiards and Music Club. For those here locally, that's 4109 North Cloverleaf Drive in St. Peters, right down the road from me. It is from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's $10 at for general admission, or $100 for a table, and the table holds up to how many?
Four. Now, we just introduced $20 rail seats. So if you don't have a table of four, you can buy an individual ticket, have a chair at a tabletop. It's like a rail top. So you can come in. It's $20. It's two Starbucks coffees.
Is it what's the best way to go about getting tickets for those that are listening to this right now?
Go to Eventbrite.
Eventbrite, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you can go to Eventbrite and get all the tickets there, or you can look on any of our pages. I flood it all the time, as you know.
Well, I do want you, and I want you to end with Carly, because that's the perfect segue here. That's some on-air producing for you right now. But give us a rundown of who is going to be there.
Sure. All right. So kicking us off will be Molly Lovett. Molly's local from here in O'Fallon, getting ready to make her journey down to Nashville. Supposedly June 1 is when she's moving down there. So, she wasn't on the original bill, but I saw her doing one of these Facebook Lives of all things, and I was like, she's a local gal. We got some really cool singers come in. It'd be great to have, I'm going to call them big brothers, big sisters. It's people that have experience in the industry, people who have been down there, been there, done it. What better way for her to meet some people and maybe even just bounce some ideas off of them. So she's kicking us off at 2:30. We have Mark Perkins in Outskirts. He's a local band. He'll be going 3 to 3:45. Then we have 4 to 4:45. Is that you, Carly?
I think so.
Just shake
I
your
think
head.
you've got
Yes.
me early. Yeah, you've got me on early.
Yeah, so that's so we can hang out later. You can hang out with the cool kids then. So 4 to 4:45 will be Carly, and 5 to 5:45 is Mackie Roberts. And I'm gonna let Carly tell you a little bit about herself in a little bit. But Mackie's a smooth operator from down in Nashville now, transplanted from Oregon. So you have to check out some of his stuff. Lindsay Bowman was part of Smoking Guns. She's open for Diamond Rio, Confederate Railroad, Mark Wills, lots of different people. And she actually just released a brand new song called You Don't Get to Know. And it's kind of fits right into Katie's Americana. She's got the growl. And Rob even said the other day, he goes, I don't know why this isn't a hit already. So definitely come check her out. Then we got Flint Hill's own Matt Wynn. So Matt's going to be coming home, and that's one of Carly's buddies. And he's been doing a ton of songwriting. I mean, like insane songwriting. And so he's going to come back home and bring his talents to the stage. Then at 8, we've got Darian Lee. And Darian has a brand new song out right now called Wherever I Go. It's actually being played on local country radio stations here in St. Louis. And it was nominated for Midwest CMA Video of the Year. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Peyton Howie coming to us from California. She was the West Coast CMA Newcomer of the Year and New Entertainer of the Year. So she's very diverse. So she's taken the stage right before our headliner, which will be Walker County, who will be walking the red carpet at the CMAs, and they have a song out called The Hamptons. So check it out.
Awesome. So, I mean, how many total was that? I lost count on you there, but how many total? Eight bands. So you're getting. The good thing about this, you're getting a tremendous show. 8 people, that's unheard of for a concert for the price you're charging. $10, $20, $100, no matter what. And it's going to a great cause. So there's no reason not to go. Like I tell people all the time, there's no reason not to listen to my show. But right now, I feel like this is the best reason is live music, or at least musicians on the show. So, Carly, I want to start with you. Well, I want to get into you, but I want to ask, how did you get into this concert? What led you to Freedom Jam?
Brian reached out, if I remember correctly. Brian reached out on Facebook or Instagram.
Who knows? Probably everything.
I think so.
Or maybe I had Matt. I probably told Matt to ask you too. Who knows?
Either one of those, yeah. And of course, I was excited to do it. I'm super proud. I'm actually a lifetime auxiliary member of the VFW, and my family is big military people. Sorry, I've got a stutter today. I blame the weather, but yeah. So my family has been military personnel, and so we're super excited to be able to contribute.
Now, I'm going to assume, or at least I feel like I'm pretty confident that this has got to be this concert coming up in August. I mean, do you have a lot more planned before then? Are you doing much before then? I mean,
well, I'm actually, so right now we're still scheduled to come out to the Lake of the Ozarks in June, and playing in a weekend with my buddy Justin Johnson from South Alabama, Panama City area, and he's incredible. We're supposed to do that mid-June, and then we're also supposed to still have some of our Upchurch shows in July. So out in Virginia and South Carolina, supposedly. Obviously, that's still up in the air and could change, but right now they're still on track. So.
Well, fingers crossed for that.
Where's your show down at the Lake of the Ozarks?
I think it's called Paradise Beach, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a triple-decker little beach bar marina.
Yep,
It's a cool place.
It is a great time.
we've got a lake house down there. We'll have to try to get to that one as well then.
Yeah, Justin is absolutely incredible, and I'm super excited he's had me play down in Panama City with him at the Floribama. So I'm really excited to have him come up and play with us in St. Louis, or well, not St. Louis.
It's close enough. It's close enough.
I just consider all of Central Missouri St. Louis.
It's weird because Kansas City and St. Louis is in an epic lifelong battle over what the central part of Missouri belongs to all the time. So
Right.
well,
Well, let me end that battle. St. Louis owns it.
All right, settled.
well, I'll tell you
In
this.
my head, they did.
It's funny because you saw me pour a beer a while ago, and the typical episode for me, and whether it's with guests or not, and we've had a pretty wide, eclectic range of guests. I've had everybody from pro wrestlers to stand-up comics to improv.
Yeah.
We like to have everybody. Pop culture is what we emphasize on the podcast, but my typical research involves me opening the beer and drinking and just winging it on the fly. This episode, though, it cracks me up because I had a crack research team send me a bunch of facts about you before the episode started, and that would be Mr. Brian Judy. And what I loved about it, it does absolutely have some professional credits and things, or accomplishments and things coming up for you. But then it also has, just random stuff about your dog Willie, and you love fishing.
Oh yeah.
And so it's one
How about how I can crack a beer with one hand? Is that on there?
Oh,
no, it's not.
oh, here it goes. Here it goes. Let's see it. PBR.
PBR. That is
Can't even do that.
That is the largest local owned brewery in the United States. I'm proud of you. You did. I want to get into your music. Absolutely want to get into music soon. But I this is something he didn't mention other than you love fishing. But I want to ask you about your hat because I just heard somebody bring it up a while ago.
Yeah, so I'm super fortunate. Well, right now the lighting kind of isn't great. I don't know if you guys can see the logo.
Yeah.
But it's a brand called Hooked and Tagged, and they're actually based out of Wisconsin. I got connected with them. I played a casino. No. Okay, I'm so sorry. Long story short, I met this couple on Broadway here in Nashville. The dude was rapping some Eminem really hardcore. The band was playing Eminem on Broadway. And this guy was going hard in the paint, if you get any basketball references. He was into it. And I took a video, and I took a video from the corner. He never saw me, but I kind of felt guilty. I have a really guilty conscience when it comes to like posting people, and like maybe they don't want me to post that or anything like that. So I just walked up and said, "Hey man, I just took this awesome video of you. I wanted to post it, but I don't want you to, if it somehow goes viral, I don't want you to see it and think that I was making fun of you or whatever. I don't want you to think it was malicious." So he gave me his Instagram. I posted it, tagged him in it. He shared it. It never went viral, so it was fine. But yeah, they work for a company called Hooked and Tagged, and they ended up wanting to work with me. And so I've got a brand deal with them. I've actually got a discount code that gets 15% off. And then an extra 10% goes to an extra 10% of all the orders using my code goes to relieving Middle Tennessee tornado victims.
What is that
I still
code?
have friends that are struggling. So
what is that code?
it's C as in cat, Rogers, no D. So just CROGERS, and it's 15% off, plus an extra 10% goes to donations for Middle Tennessee tornado victims.
Awesome. We'll definitely share it. Now, I will say this.
Thank you.
I am lucky enough professionally for what I do that I get to be, you used to before this all happened, I get to be in Nashville probably 10 to 12 times a year. And I miss being on Broadway right now. In fact, CMA Fest is one of the big events. I bring a lot of people down to CMA Fest, and I play babysitter for a few days and have a great time. So I'm a little upset about all of that right now. But it is great to see someone from Nashville or someone writing and living doing music down in Nashville to be on here. So how did that come about? What led you all the way down there to Nashville to be a singer-songwriter professionally?
Yeah, so my grandmother had visited Nashville before I was born with her husband, her late husband, and I just picked up a microphone when I was young, all the way up through school, always sang, joined a rock band in middle school, We played everything from Ozzy Osbourne to Led Zeppelin and all sorts of things in between. And my grandmother told me, hey, you know, if you want to pursue this music dream, you want to write music for a living, you got to go to Nashville. It's really your only choice. And I just took that into consideration. She's like, if you play at Tootsie's, you've made it. Not the case. Spoiler alert. But Tootsie's tends to be a black hole. But super awesome staple. Love going there still. Just hated playing there. And but yeah, so I moved to Nashville. I went to Belmont University. I got to graduate with a bachelor's in entertainment, business, and marketing. And I had started playing at Tootsie's as soon as I moved here. I was 17.
Awesome.
And from then, I just bar hopped and played at any bar that I could. I took a break from music for about a year and some change, and then came back to it. Was just a fire underneath my butt, and ended up starting to book myself at all these little dive bar places. I've been calling it the Dive Bar Tour for the last 4 years. And now I've got a gold record and a #1 song, and we're on tour with Upchurch now, which is really cool. So, and in that time frame, since I've moved here, I've released, I think it's 8 singles now, and I've got 4 features on different songs. So, it's exciting.
So in other words, you're doing the damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm working really hard.
Yeah.
And it's starting to pay off, which is nice.
So one of the last year, my favorite time down there was my company booked the Bluebird privately. And I was blown away, like you say, working hard. I mean, I think people always, whether it's country music, whether it's rock music, whether it's whatever it is, people picture songwriters as laying around every once in a while. They put out a hit, maybe, maybe make a song here and there every other month. But no, I was amazed how much content and how much music you write on a daily basis, anyone on Music Row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one, it's not even necessarily all that. It's just all the content. I mean, if you think about it, all the songwriters in Nashville, and not every artist is a songwriter. And a lot of times songwriters are some of the bandmates and instrumentalists and producers. And then you think about how many songs each one of those people has written. I go to writers' rounds all the time, and I just wish I could just put my phone out, like the voice memo, and just hit start and record all these songs just so I can listen to them, because there's so much untouched content. It's basically like the ocean. Like there's so much that's undiscovered. And it's just, you can't be just great here. You have to be absolutely exceptional beyond comparison, essentially. That's the best way to put it. And it's jaded a little bit. It jades people just a little bit. You come here and you hear not just one person that's great and everybody else is pretty good. It's every single person you listen to is, whoa, that guy should be on the radio. Whoa, that song should be #1. Whoa, that guitar player has the sickest wrist I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, you can't just be the greatest. You know what I mean?
You're literally trying to stand out in a city full of standouts is what you're trying to do.
Yeah. You're trying to be the biggest great white shark, but all the great white sharks are 12, 13, 14 feet. You got to be 16, 17 feet to beat some of these suckers out. And it's insane. And it's tough, but it's also, I tend to look at it from a supportive standpoint as opposed to a competitive standpoint. I've had people decide that they didn't want to work with me or decide they didn't want to support me anymore just because they felt like I was doing better. And I see that actually a lot. I'm using that as an example. I don't suffer from that too much, thankfully, but I see it happen with a lot of people. I overhear the conversations. I see friendships break up being like, oh, you don't hang out with so-and-so anymore. And they're like, nah. And then come to find out, well, this person just started doing really well and the other person got jealous. It's like,
so that could be,
you hit if you hit.
And so that could be the downside. But the upside is when you're doing well enough to where a legend gives you permission to record their songs, or at least that a legend's estate gives you permission to record their songs.
Look at her. She's getting all giddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
it's so cool. And I just, every time it gets brought up, I get giddy over it. It's just a super personal song.
Yeah. Tell people, they don't even know here.
I was very fortunate through working at Tootsie's to meet some incredible people, including my friend Jesse Keith Whitley and his mom, Miss Lori Morgan. And I had recorded a cover video and posted on Instagram and Facebook of me singing Don't Close Your Eyes. It was a 2-parter. And Jesse reached out and was like, dude, you're more than welcome. You should record that, is what he said initially. And I said, well,
it's that easy.
I don't know how to go about it. And it was on Facebook. Just messaged Eric, commented, and was like, dude, you should record this. And I was like, if you're serious, like, just tell me how to go about it. He goes, you don't need to do nothing. Like, we're not going to sue you. And I was like, well, I should still probably go through the process. So,
famous last words. Yeah, go ahead and do it. We're not going to sue.
Yeah, right. No, and they would never. They're incredible people, and it's just been an absolute honor. I've listened to Miss Lori for a very long time, and Jesse's been a friend literally since he's been a big brother to me. Working at Tootsie's, and I was so young when I started working there, and he always had my back, which has been awesome. He's always been supportive, so it's really awesome. He was supposed to sing on it with me. Unfortunately, we just couldn't make the studio times work. He's got a new single and a music video coming out, and so we just couldn't coordinate schedules. But so yeah, at least I got the support, and that to me, it's really awesome.
And
it's unreal. I never thought it was going to happen.
You said that video is on your Facebook page?
Yes, it's on the Facebook page. I'm wearing a camouflage hoodie, and my hair is long and blonde like this. And they should be 2 back to back. And then it's also on my Instagram page. I don't post a lot on YouTube, unfortunately, but they are on Facebook and Instagram.
It's getting harder and harder to post anything on YouTube. So I don't know how unfortunate that is.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it's just, I don't want to get sued for any sort of copyright infringement. I never record. I'm such a perfectionist that I can't sit and record a video like start to finish, like an entire song. So I can only do the Instagram clips. I just do a minute and call it square. I usually don't even listen to them before I post them. Because I end up redoing them. So just the clips, 2-parter, well, half the song.
Hey, do you have your guitar right there?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think she
sure
needs to do it, Jeremy.
Yeah, you don't have to Instagram clip anything. You can play the whole thing if you want right now. Nobody's going to say a word.
If you'd like for me to be a backup singer, I'm pretty good.
All right, deal.
It may go viral.
Hey, you, Jeremy.
And one thing when Carly was talking earlier just about the whole process and the stuff you have to go through, I could see Katie was sitting there shaking her head because she's been there, seen all this stuff, So it's
yeah, Carly. I mean, hats off to hanging in there with your talent and seeing signs of it paying off, because what you said was absolutely right. You've got so much talent, and it seems like every time you turn around, there's a number one song that's just completely overlooked. And it's a cruel business. It's a great business in so many ways, but it's also an interesting and cruel business, and in how arbitrary it tends to be.
Yeah, it's definitely embellished. I moved to Nashville with no understanding that Jason Aldean didn't write his own songs, or with any thought in my head that I would ever be friends with Keith Willie's son. And I'm not even trying to name drop at this point, but those things to me, I say this a lot to another friend of mine who has famous parents, and it's like, dude, I understand that it's normal to you, and it's normal to a lot of people that grew up around here, but it's not normal to somebody that grew up in a town of 2,000, 3,000 people in a place that only has a whole pop, like that just, that never crosses your mind. And let alone leaving that town. My family goes back 4 generations deep on both sides. So my brother and me were like some of the first of our family to actually move away from our hometown. And so that thought and that concept never crossed my mind. So I do get moments of like, I don't know if I can curse on here, but like, holy smokes, like this is my life. Like my life is a joke.
This episode is the least amount of curse words that have ever been uttered on my podcast. So
I tried. I actually
all up earlier today at work, Jeremy.
Yeah, you should have called.
I will. As you call him or start the song, I will say that I am happy to see that I do have a friend that is represented now when I see Rob hold up a can of Heavy Riff's Love Gun. That's a local brewery.
You caught that?
Yeah, I'm a beer. I'm a bit of an expert, so I appreciate that too. So yeah, Carly, we're gonna let you take it away because we're super excited to hear this.
Yeah. So I'm super fortunate. My friend Alejandro Medina produced it. The recorded version. Chad Judd played guitar. We've got an awesome fiddle player from Texas. His name's escaping me, and that's so awful, but I'm totally owning it. And then Grady Saxman on the percussion. So this one is Don't Close Your Eyes. a long time ago. Lying here in my arms. You still want her, I know. But darling, this time, let your memories die. When you hold me tonight, don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Let it be me. Don't pretend it's her in some fantasy. Darling, just once let yesterday go, and you'll find more love than you've ever known. Just hold me tight when you love me tonight, and don't close your eyes. Maybe I've been a fool, holding on all this time, lying here in your arms, knowing she's on your mind. But I keep hoping someday that you'll see the light. Let it be tonight. Don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Let it be me. Don't pretend it's her in some fantasy. Darling, just once let yesterday go. You'll find more love than you've ever known. Just hold me tight when you love me tonight, and don't close your eyes. Normally there'd be a fiddle solo here, but I don't play the fiddle. Just hold me tight when you love me tonight, and don't close your eyes.
Atta girl.
Yeah.
Get her.
Thank you.
You know, it's not every day that somebody gets to re-release a classic, you know, and Carly is very humble, and when you talk to her, she'll be like, oh, you know, but that's a big kudos to her for getting herself to that point and
Thank you.
being able to carry that song and present it the way it should be.
It's also, I mean, clearly I don't know you, and Brian has talked to you way more than I ever have, but speaking of humility and being humble, it's awesome that when I brought it up earlier, you lit up like a Christmas tree on how excited you were about it. So that,
well, look at her.
Dude, I am.
I mean, that's a testament to you. So
yeah, but you know what else is one thing that I've learned in Nashville is nobody wants you to be happy for yourself, and it's almost been beaten into me, like, and metaphorically speaking, not actually, but like the whole concept. It's very taboo and sacrilegious to be excited about your own stuff, and you'll just see me jump on live. I had to make the switch. You'll see me jump on live or post videos or talk to people. I'm like, no, this song I'm about to put out is the greatest song that's ever been recorded. Like, you have no clue. And is that factually true? Who knows? But in my mind, I have to believe that. Otherwise, it's never gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So I do try really, really hard. And that's also a reaction because I'm afraid a lot of people are going to be like, don't mess with the classics and like leave it alone. I'm a little sensitive I take things a little personally, and that's just kind of my biggest fear at this point. But I really hope that even having that concept, they can at least say, you know what, at least she didn't, pardon my language, but at least she didn't fuck it up.
Yeah.
And the recording is very tasteful, and it's not, we didn't pop it up or anything crazy. We didn't completely change it like Chris Stapleton changed Tennessee Whiskey, and I love both versions. But we did not do anything of that sort. We kept it very classic and very tasteful. And so I'm super excited about it.
Well, you should be. You should be. And you are right. Unfortunately, no matter what's going on in the world, people will find a way to hate. But I think the fact that it's not like you did this on your own, you were encouraged by the family. So right away, that's an endorsement. So, I don't have a problem with you dropping an F-bomb, because those people, and forgive me guys, but they can go fuck themselves if they don't like it. No.
And that's why I wanted to give the warning, like, heads up. I don't know, but
That's the same thing that Rob said to me earlier at work.
About 50 times.
But it's it's an absolute honor, and that's, I'm grateful to be able to say that, yeah, like, this was encouraged, and it's not, oh, I just took the liberty upon myself to go back and change something, to change history. Essentially, that's such an iconic song. So it's an absolute honor that I get to. Not many people have done it. So yeah.
Now that is a cover of a classic, but do you write predominantly all your own stuff that you perform?
Yes. So, it depends on the shows. These 4-hour acoustic bar gigs, a lot of times, are an even mix between covers and originals. The Upchurch tour, we kind of do the same thing, just because we're not the headliner and not everybody knows the new stuff yet. So we'll start off with a cover, do an original, do a cover, medley, do an original. Because when we had been playing shows with Upchurch, the 2 weekends that we'd gone out, we had not had the new music out yet. So, and we don't play any of the old stuff. The old stuff to me is just a little outdated. And it's not necessarily on brand anymore. So the last 3 or 4 songs that we put out and the next couple songs are going to be what we play throughout the tour. So yeah, but I do write the music that I put out. I do write myself, sometimes with the help of others. Matt Wynn's one of my favorite co-writers. Allie Colleen, an Oklahoma native who lives here in Nashville. She's another one of my favorite co-writers, and plenty more. But then I've got a few songs like Just Another and Need You that I wrote myself and put out.
What was that last one?
Just Another.
No, the other one.
Need You.
Because I requested every time.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what we want to hear. Now, I want to ask you one thing.
Yeah, see?
I would love to hear it, but I do want to ask you one thing, because you said you've released 4 and you've got a couple others coming out. It's a weird. Especially and I'm not gonna sit here with company like Brian and claim I'm an old guy, but I'm a little bit of an old guy. Brian's got me beat. But growing up, I grew up seeing the transition from 8-track to cassette, and vinyl to CD and things like that. So I'm not saying it's a lost art, but you speak in releasing songs instead of whole albums. What's that like anymore?
That's just my personal. Honestly, that's just a reflection of my personal budget.
Oh, okay.
Professional budget, whatever you want to call it. I've never necessarily felt like I've had the catalog to release an album at a time, but I also feel, and just from research that I've done, because I work really hard to research and study different genres and see how are the pop stars becoming so successful? How is it that these no-name people with 2,000 followers on Instagram have a radio smash? Like, how is it that they get from point A to point Z? And so I do a lot of studying, and everything that I've found with contemporary is that the modern audience doesn't have the attention span to withhold an entire album's, time. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the attention span to consume an entire album at a time. And so the single thing has just been working because, one, my bank account is set up so that I can only afford one song at a time. And it also keeps people, I stay relevant. I've been really good the last 2 years putting out a song at least every 2 to 3 months. And so I've been really diligent about that, and it's been paying off. It's drawn more attention. It's been consistent. I try to do the same thing with my social media, just consistently posting every 2 to 3 days. At some point, I would love to do a song a week. I think that's the new pop way of forcing your way into the industry. I think is that's, to me, it just makes sense. It's just flooding it. And it's like, all right, one of these songs is bound to pop. Like if I shoot 100 shots, at least 10 are supposed to, or should go in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry for all the basketball references because I play basketball, but I've been watching the Jordan documentary, so it's fresh on my head. But
no, see, now you're in the wheelhouse of what we do on this show. We get off on these tangents like the Jordan documentary, which is probably, it was so good. My wife, who does not like basketball, watched all 10 hours of it with me.
I'm rewatching it. So I'm super fortunate. My parents have a really awesome Hulu hookup. Mm-hmm. And so I've got it logged in on my computer. Hulu is very like a zip code this thing for whatever reason. Yeah. And so I've got it on my laptop. So it's portable and I can watch all the documentaries.
And Jeremy, at the beginning, you were just talking about, what makes people successful and having their own identity and stuff. And I think Katie will say the same thing, but just hearing Carly sing that one song so far, you can tell that she has a very unique voice, very unique tone. And I mean, that's like your vocal signature. And I guarantee you from this day forward, anybody that's sitting on here or anybody listening to this, when they hear something that's played on the radio, they're going to be able to say, well, that's Carly. Would you agree, Katie, with that?
Well, you've got that beautiful, I was almost expecting some yodel-esque sort of something coming out of you, Carly, because
I can yodel.
You can tell because you take just that first part of that cadence and add that dynamic to your voice, but you can tell there's a lot there. I loved the simplicity and the structure and the beauty of how you did that. But I can't wait to see you just kind of cut loose and just be Carly, because you probably got a lot going on there.
Look at her.
The last 2 songs, you go listen to Drunk Side of Drinking and Just Another, and they are hot out the gate. Like I said, best 2 songs I've ever released in my entire life so far. No, I'm just kidding. But they, Just Another is super important to me. I just was sitting on this couch and was angry and frustrated and just kind of got drunk. Not that I'm condoning or encouraging or sponsoring.
No, you were at home on your couch. That's fine.
Who has ever gotten drunk?
At 2:00 on a Tuesday, it's totally fine. It's quarantine. No, but so I wrote this one and it's called Just Another. And it's the most recent. And then Drunk Side of Drinking was with my buddy Brian Davis. And that one also cuts loose. So both of them are pretty, they're fun. And Somewhere Else cuts loose too. I can't wait for the next release with Somewhere Else. That's coming out in June. So it's super exciting.
I can see why Lori Morgan would have been drawn to you, because stylistically, although you guys aren't, the same, you've got your own style. She's got her own style, and she's a magnificent vocalist, as we all know.
Oh, yeah.
But you do hail back to some of that old country kind of feel. Has that been recognized for you by in these clubs? Like when you're at Tootsie's, are people like, oh my gosh, I can hear old school country in this girl?
Well, I think it stems from, first and foremost, I can't do the crazy runs and slides and, all this frou-frou. I keep it plain and simple and keep it close to home base. And, but I think a lot of that, I grew up just listening to Patsy Cline and Sheryl Crow, and those are the first 2 that I always get, which is it's such an honor. I finally got to watch Sheryl Crow in concert, and it was incredible. And I love singing Patsy Cline and Sheryl, so I get those a lot, and that is such a huge compliment. Thank you so much.
The Sheryl Crow influence, I can see that for sure. Yeah, you have a lot of stylistic tendencies of like her, but like I said, you've got your own style. But she's made a super crazy, amazing career just doing that very thing, and not having to go all Carrie Underwood all the time, or
Yeah. And that's the scariest part about being a female singer. It's like you see all these contestants on all these TV shows, and I'm not even going to name any of them in particular, but all these girls are such powerhouse vocalists. And I just, growing up, I was like, that's not going to be me. I'm never going to make it because I can't sing like that. And I think it almost turned me away from it. I'm starting to work on it now, but it almost turned me off from trying to do all that stuff that I just never tried to. And I just kind of always kept it gritty and low key. And that's kind of helped push me. I think it helps pull me apart from other people. It's just one of the factors that pulls me apart from other people downtown. Because a lot of girls, you go downtown, and I hate to put it this way, but they all sound like they're trying to do the Carrie Underwood thing. and hit these huge notes, and or Jennifer Hudson thing. They try to hit these huge notes, and they're incredibly beautiful, but they're very monotonous. So sometimes people get a little breather hearing the simplicity, plain Jane, cheese pizza, vanilla ice cream over here.
Carly being Carly.
What that is
Hey,
that's the.
I'm not here for a long time, and it's pretty much guaranteed. I'm just only here for a good time.
It's
We're taking it easy on this side.
well, that's like you the gritty, like you said, gritty, and the way you're describing yourself. It's the perfect. Not that we condone it, like you said, but it's the perfect style of music to crack open that beer, to relax, to enjoy yourself, to soak it in. No one has ever said that they're soaking in a Jennifer Hudson or a Carrie Underwood sitting in the first year. They're being punched in the face is what they're being done. But you just brought up
Uppercut to the gut.
There you go. You just brought up something else about what you're doing, just sitting over here eating your pizza. And Brian brought that up in his research that he sent me. He said you're a bit of a pizza fanatic. So I got 2 questions for you.
She's like, why is this guy a stalker?
One.
No, I mean, it's public knowledge, man. You
I
Google
know.
Carly Rogers Pizza. There's a Domino's scholarship for some high school kid out in Oklahoma somewhere.
One, what is the best pizza to get when I am in Nashville?
Oh, man. Okay, so and let me preface with, I am very picky, and I don't try, followed by, I do not try many places.
Okay. You're loyal is what you are.
I'm very like, oh, I like this. I'm staying here. I'm not venturing. I'm staying home. I really like, there's 2 places specifically that are local to Nashville. One is owned by a friend. It's called Little Chicago's. It's on Demumbrian Street. They've got all sorts of food items from burgers and mozzarella sticks and French fries to gyros and sub sandwiches and pizza. And their pizza's incredible. It's right on Demumbrian Street next to all the bars. And my other favorite is Dolce Vita. It's spelled like DOLCE and then Vita, VITA. It's like, I think it's Sweet Life is what it translates to. But they're also super good. And then when I'm traveling, I just always hit Domino's.
I'm a
Can y'all
fan of
still see
Domino's.
me?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Domino's too.
All
We
right.
add extra sauce is what we do when we get it. Now,
See, I'm just a plain Jane. The only time I get anything different is at Dolce Vita. I get barbecue chicken pizza, no bacon, no onions. But anywhere else, it's just plain Jane cheese. I don't trust anybody.
so my second question along the lines of your pickiness, your self-proclaimed pickiness is, so this is a real big question that we ask people. And I can tell you this, I have a friend who happened to get to go backstage at the Post Malone concert and hang out with Post Malone here in St. Louis recently when he came through. And he scarfed down about 30 of our St. Louis style pizzas and apparently loved it. So I want to ask you what you think of St. Louis style pizza.
Never tried it.
Oh boy. That sounds like you're going to have, I listen, I don't know what kind of demands, what you put in your rider to appear in these shows.
I would absolutely try a St. Louis style cheese pizza.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we have,
as long as it's cheese.
we have our
Anything else, I'm
own,
not trying it.
we have our own style of cheese. It's called Provel here in St. Louis. It's our cheese. It's a thin crust with a Provel cheese. It's different. It's look at her shaking her head already.
I don't like it already.
You said you would. You already said.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Try
at
it,
the show
but
waiting for you.
I am so I can't hide it on my face if I don't like it. So you can't be offended if you see me take that bite and I go.
Being a sports fan, I'm sure you're aware of Barstool Sports on Facebook and everything.
Oh yeah.
He was not. He, one, was not kind, but 2, really raised a lot of awareness for St. Louis style pizza when he came and rated his pizza here during the Stanley Cup Finals. And he was not great for it, but he's still doing commercials for him every once in a while. He'll pop up with another. He's giving it another go. So if you can get that critic, to endorse you or to try again, so it's got to say something, because Portnoy is one of the biggest critics of pizza out there. That's how he got famous.
Yeah. I actually got to meet Portnoy at Talladega. I'm super fortunate to have some really awesome friends at Monster Energy. They take me under their wing for the Talladega races. And I got super fortunate to meet Dave. He was hanging out with us. And I told him straight up, my friend at Monster was like, hey, Dave, this is Carly. She sang earlier. Long story short, she loves pizza, like a whole lot. And if you ever end up in Nashville, ask her where to go because she knows the best pizza spots. He was like, "Is that so?" And I said, "Uh-huh. I got all the best pizza places, Dave. Just count on me." Now, also, I was about an entire bottle of Jack Daniels into this conversation. And that's about all I remember from it. But we did take a super blurry selfie, and huge fan. Love Dave Portnoy. I never go based off of his recommendations, though. I don't try any of them.
No,
I keep to myself.
He's one of those love-hate kind of guys. When you do love something that he says, he's great. But when you don't, you want to strangle him. But I tell you this, we're coming up on an hour. I want to hear this song that Mr. Brian Judy says that he requests every time. Now, I do have one caveat. Now, Shane Presley, who I've been told that you're going to go on his show. Shane probably has the largest music podcast in the St. Louis area. Very big supporter of local talent. Probably one of the handful of biggest around. So when you do go on his show, you can't play this song because you've already done it on mine, and I'm going to tell Shane you can't do it. It's got to be different.
I mean, I was 50-50 about to give you the response. You got to go buy it. Struggling musician over
Yeah,
here.
that's right. Well, I like that.
I'll play some of it. I'll do a verse and a chorus. How about that?
That'd be
That's
awesome.
cool.
And as you're setting up, I do want to, I want to mention one more time. We're talking about Carly. You can see her coming up on August 29th at Operation Triage's Freedom Jam. Been organized by my good friend Brian and his partner in crime, Rob. It's a great show for a good cause. It's at Diamond Billiards and Music Club in St. Peters, Missouri, my hometown. $10 for tickets, $100 for a table, $20 for a rail seat. All of them are a great value because it's for a great cause. It's from 3 o'clock to 11 p.m., so you get 8 hours of music. So there's really no excuses for not going and checking this out.
Hey, Jeremy, just to
Absolutely
add to
not.
that, just to add one thing to that. So just to put it in layman terms, because a lot of people ask, what do I get for my $10 ticket? What do I get for my $20 ticket or whatever? Think of it this way. What can you give with your $10 ticket? Or
Absolutely.
What can you give for your $20 ticket? Okay. So for every $100, so it's either 10 general admissions or 5 rail seats or just one table. Operation Triage can go in and build a ramp for a veteran for his wheelchair.
That's awesome. You also
if we get 5 tables for everyone, we can go into their house and widen every doorway in that house and build a ramp for that veteran to get around. So that's the good way to think. What can I give with my ticket? We know what you're getting. You're going to get stars like Carly, and you're going to be sitting there drooling and be like, "Oh, come on, can you play the rest of the night? You don't have to go home at 11."
You also get a chance to buy some pretty sick T-shirt and swag with an awesome logo. I was going to say, I want to commend you on the logo one more time.
Yeah. And that is available, and it's also on. I don't have the cup in front of me yet, but we got a little Yeti. There's a Yeti cup with it on there, and a wine cup.
And really fast before Carly starts strumming. I know Carly, you're on Twitter at Carly ROG Music. Is that right?
Yeah, but I don't put that one out there too
Okay.
much. I talk a lot of smack on Twitter.
Okay, well,
You
then
follow
ignore that.
me. Just don't judge me. I do. I talk a lot of smack on Twitter.
That's your fighting space.
How about
I
Instagram?
get a little feisty on Twitter.
What is your Instagram? Can they just find you by searching Carly Rogers? No D.
No D, because I'm a lady. It's actually Rogers Carly. If you just type in Rogers C, it usually comes up. It's the one that's got the blue ring around the circle. I'm not verified yet. There's a bunch of fake accounts, but it's the one that's got 45,000 followers.
Hey, there you go.
And then Facebook is Carly Rog Music. Or Carly Rogers Music. But you can just search Carly Rogers on Facebook. It comes up in the pages. I think it's got like 12,000 likes now. So that's one way to find that one. And then all the music, you can just go on Google Carly Rogers Music, and it shows all my songs depending on where you stream them or play them. Hopefully some of them will end up on the radio.
And I'm going to assume all platforms for your music where they can purchase it through all platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Google, wherever they need to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I can tell Alexa to play it right now. She's probably going to turn. Oh, she didn't turn it on. But yeah, so you can tell Alexa to play me, and it's cool.
Well, and Brian, Operation Triage, Freedom Jam, you can search that on Facebook, but give them all the other handles so they can search that out.
Yeah, I mean the best way is on there, but also Freedom Jam STL on Instagram. If you go to Eventbrite has has the whole lineup, everything you need to know about sponsorships, about getting tickets. It's got videos of all of our artists on there, so you can hear some of their songs. You can do everything right there on Eventbrite.com.
And last but certainly not least, Katie, how can people listen to you in the local market?
Oh, 3 frequencies, actually. Thanks for asking. We are currently on 101.7. We're on 93.3 and 104.3, depending on where you are in the 70 corridor. we basically go from Lambert Airport west down
Okay.
Highway 70.
And what times are you?
I am the 6 a.m. to noon girl, Monday
All right.
through Friday. Yeah, right?
And you can stream it at
Yeah,
k-wolf.com.
k-wulf.com. Right.
Awesome.
Thanks.
But I think that there's some songs that Carly sings that would be a real good fit on K-Wolf.
There you go.
I just wrote down her info, Brian.
There you go.
Yay!
Now I get to noodle around in your music, Carly.
Well, Carly,
Yes, and they're all on there. I never deleted anything, so it's all on there.
well, Brian, I'm super happy that you reached out, or I reached out to you those months ago, and you told me all about this.
Yeah.
Rob, Katie, and certainly Carly, I'm over the moon that you guys came on and you got to play a very amazing song, great version of an amazing song. And
Thank you.
You play us out for however much you want, and then we'll say bye as soon as you're done.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us and for giving me a place to come and talk and tell my story too. That's really awesome. And thanks, Brian, for setting this up.
Yeah.
This is Brian's favorite song that I've got. I wrote it by myself. Oh, go ahead.
Are you going to do one of your new ones right after? Go right into it.
I mean, we can. I was going to do a verse and a chorus.
You
and then
do
we'll go by
do
on
whatever
iTunes
you
to
want,
support
and
the struggling musician.
yeah, you do whatever you want, and then all these people that no doubt will enjoy listening, they need to go search you out and buy and listen, and more,
Right.
and the
Amen.
local. Importantly, they need to show up and see you in person.
Yes, absolutely. You got to buy your tickets to hear the rest of the songs. How about that?
There you go. I like that.
Hey.
On that note, first of all, Carly, I'm totally looking forward to meeting you. But I'm going to meet you down there at the Lake of the Ozarks show. So I have to reach out to you for more information and help you promote that going on, because I know a lot of people that are down at the lake. So
Yeah, it's on Bands in Town, where my whole schedule is. You can just find me on there, Carly Rogers, on Bands in Town. I think it's June 19th and 21st. I could be wrong, but I think that's the weekend we're doing it. But yeah, the song's called Need You, and you can figure out what it's about as I keep going. But I'm gonna play the first half of it and then go find it. But
I love it.
Need You.
Thank you.
You go out on the town, see your friends hanging out, but it's different. Say one more time. You go out on the town, see your friends hanging out, but it's different. Every time saying hi, then goodbye if they don't need something. Yo, it's never the same, but it is in a way. You can feel it. Yeah, the look in their eyes when you ain't worth the time, you can see it. They only want you when they need you. They don't call you till they see you. When they see you climbing up on the rise and you get too high, so they want you to help them out. They only want you when they need you, when they need you. Yeah, and then you can go listen to the rest of it on
Well,
wherever else you can download your music.
that is the perfect tease to lead into going and finding Carly's stuff. Again, that's Carly Rogers. The concert is Operation Triage Freedom Jam, among other concerts that she's going to be playing here in the Missouri, in the greater St. Louis metro area, which we're now including Lake of the Ozarks. And
Yes, and that shows all ages, by the way. That's super important. It's all ages, so that'll be really awesome. You can bring the kids.
well, I appreciate it. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, Carly, and you can decide if you're going to do this after we're done with his. They are playing Game 6, the movie, It is an in-depth HD version of the final Bulls game with Jordan. It's going to be on ESPN tonight. So being a basketball fan, it's going to be worth the watch. It's the first time that's ever been played in HD, so it'll be awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to have to try to figure out how to get an ESPN account real quick.
There you go. And again, Brian.
If somebody's got it, send me their login. Let me hop on.
And Brian, thanks for setting this up. Katie, Rob, it's awesome. It was a surprise to get the extra person, but man, it was totally worth it. I love it. And again,
Yes.
go check them out. And I don't have any other co-hosts on here that usually lead in with the bye, so it's just me. So I appreciate everybody, and I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.